How about this? We're in South Florida, getting ready for Impact Wrestling's Winter Warfare, December 9th and 10th. It's Friday and Saturday. 2 big nights at the Charles F. Dodge City Center in Pembroke Pines. Impact Wrestling taking over. And who better to be with Impact Wrestling in South Florida? Hometown kid making it, signing with Impact Wrestling, and he will be there 2 big nights. Jai Vidal!
That's me. Oh my God, I am so excited. For one, to be signed with an amazing and accepting company like Impact Wrestling, and for 2, to be down here. You know what I mean? Hometown boy, South Florida, right? Jai Vidal, and I feel like it's come full circle. You know, this is where I started, and now my first major signing. This is where it's all coming to, right here in South Florida, December 9th and 10th, Winter Warfare.
It really worked out cool because the announcement was made, and history was made as well. We'll get into that, but it is something because you went to Deerfield Beach High School,
yes.
Correct?
Yes.
South Florida kid, Coastal Championship Wrestling, Gangrel's Wrestling, Asylum, 2 big companies in South Florida. You were part of both of those, getting your training. What was it like the beginning stages of getting going in this journey? That was back in like 2016.
Yeah, so back in 2016, I actually started over at Coastal Championship Wrestling. That's where I met Gangrel. I met Gangrel over there my very first day in. And he always took a really big liking to me. And he took me under his wing since day 1. He always said, he likes you if he gives you nicknames. So he gave me the nickname Twilight because he said I look like Jacob from Twilight. So if you ever see Gangrel, it's always Twilight. It's never Jai Vidal, it's Twilight to him. But no, I got my start there, which was funny to be in that time in wrestling, because in that time it wasn't super socially acceptable to be gay. I was still in the closet my very first 2 years in wrestling or so. And it wasn't until one day I was having a conversation with Gangrel, and he was like, "Hey, I heard you're gay." And I was like, No, I'm not. You know, I love women. And he's like, No. He's like, tell me the truth. And I'm like, No. I'm straight as an arrow, you know. And he's like, I'm helping you out. The least you could do is, tell me who you really are. And I look at him like, yeah, I'm gay. And he says, well, why don't you tell the world? And I said, we're doing things out here in South Florida. I'm wrestling shows. I don't want to get buried under that because of my sexuality. And he's like, forget that. You better go be who you are. And if the promoter doesn't like you for being gay, there's other places to wrestle. Don't let this be the be all end all. And I said, you're right. And ever since then, I've been openly and authentically being myself, which is, it's worked out. It's like the universe was like, okay, you're gonna be yourself. Here's a platform to be yourself at. And luckily, an amazing company now down the line, like Impact Wrestling, signed me as my authentic self.
It's interesting because when you're going through that time, especially the beginning,
yeah,
and to have him, somebody that's been in the big show, he's been all around, he's trained many top talents, to have him say that to you, how much a relief was that for you at that time?
It was a huge relief. It was because I don't just see him as a trainer. To me, he is a mentor. He is there whenever I need him. He's literally, I called him right before coming over here to do this interview, and he was like giving me positive words of encouragement. I see him like a father figure to me in professional wrestling. So to have him accept me really, truly meant the world to me. And I knew that if he were to accept me, then I could be going out to the world, and at some point the world of professional wrestling would have sent me also.
During that time as well, what kind of reaction then did you get from others in the wrestling community, fans, and just all around?
At first, it was almost mixed reactions, right? Because here I'm coming with this character, which is honestly just me turned up to 1,000. Anybody who would see me backstage, before I did this quote-unquote character, would know that this is truly me, being my fun self. So when I first started doing this character was actually when I moved over to Las Vegas in 2019, because I love Florida. I am a Florida boy, but something in my gut just said, you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable position to get out of this box. and I went over to the West Coast and I said, I'm going to do my darnest to take over the West Coast. And I said to myself one day, but I'm not portraying the character that I want to be on TV. If I'm telling myself that I'm going to be my authentic self, then that has to be in professional wrestling also. It can't just be in my everyday life. So first I came out to everybody, the whole world. I believe it was 2017 or 2018 when I made a public Facebook post. And it was on National Coming Out Day. You know, my closest friends and my family members already knew I was gay, but not everybody in the professional wrestling community knew I was gay. So I did it, I came out and I said, okay, now how could I portray this in the ring, but still be able to show that I am extremely talented in there as well, you know, not let the character cover up the talent, with help from Gangrel, and also when I moved to Las Vegas, from Sinn Bodhi, because he's one of my trainers over there as well. I claim him as my trainer also, at Future Stars of Wrestling. He ended up helping me on how to portray that character, how to get my, you know, my mannerisms and stuff in there while still making the moves look dominant, still showing that I could go with the best of them.
Talk about Sinn Bodhi too, and then Gangrel. Two eclectic characters.
Yes.
What two characters when you watch them and their whole portrayal of themselves as wrestlers and all, and you've got some flash to you. You got your own style and all. How would you describe your style of wrestling, and also just your style, your ring entrance, your ring gear and theme, and everything that you want associated with you now?
My style is always a mix, so I am very technical, but I also throw a different array of kicks, as well as I'm high flying.
High flying, yeah.
And, you know, I also, above all else, I do try to put character in every little thing that I do. If I hit you with a move, you better believe that I'm going to get right up and make sure that I look at that camera and give it a nice little smile to let you know that that was just me who did that cool move. And as far as my, you know, my wrestling gear goes, I always like to take inspiration from different things in pop culture. I'll start watching rap. I'm a huge female rap fan. So I'll start watching, you know, videos of Nicki Minaj or Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion, and I'll see, okay, what are they wearing? How could I incorporate that into my own professional wrestling gear? Another one of my trainers over in the West Coast is cheerleader Melissa, and she actually gave me the two of her very nice entrance jackets that she got from Japan. She gave them to me as a gift one time. So I wear those out there, you know, just for one, to honor her, and because they're beautiful, you know, it shows off who Jai Vidal is.
With Impact Wrestling, you made history. Tell us about making history. First out gay wrestler to sign with the company. What was that like for you to do that? And now you're aligned with Gisele Shaw?
Yes.
Also of the LGBTQ community, and you're the executive stylist and content creator for Gisele. Am I getting it all right, Jay? I've been watching, so I'm trying.
Yes, no, you checked all the boxes out there. So first, starting off with being the
making history,
first openly signed gay male wrestler. I didn't find out till the morning that I was doing the interview with Out Sports. I was talking to the head of media relations, Ross over here at Impact, and he's like, yeah, by the way, you know that you're the first openly gay male wrestler to sign with Impact, and like it really didn't hit me. I was like, well, okay, that's cool. Like an hour later, I'm like, no, that's not just cool, like that's groundbreaking. The first openly gay male wrestler to sign with Impact Wrestling, because now I'm knocking down the barriers so that other gay male wrestlers and, you know, lesbian female wrestlers, so on and so forth, you know, will hopefully, you know, get into Impact Wrestling as well without a second thought, without a second look. Especially because I do feel, as somebody who's part of the LGBTQ community, that we all bring something different to the table. You can have more than one LGBTQ person on your television show and it still be extremely diverse. And that's what I love about Impact Wrestling. You know, they got and have had multiple LGBTQ people in their roster, and each one of them brings something absolutely different to the table. And along that, I get to be besides, Gisele Shaw. Like, that's awesome. Her and I say are like...
Talk about ring gear and all. I mean, that's...
Yes, yes.
Her style is incredible.
Yes. And now you got me styling her, so, she already looked pretty. Now she's looking like a bombshell out there, Gisele Shaw and I are truly like peanut butter and jelly. Like, we just mesh together so well. We always bounce so well off of each other. All that chemistry that you see on camera is the same chemistry behind the scenes. I absolutely love and am honored to really be making history alongside her.
What will it be like being here for 2 days, South Florida, Charles F. Dodge City Center, December 9th and 10th, right here in Pembroke Pines, not too far from Deerfield Beach. Actually closer to the GWA, Gangrel Wrestling Asylum. That's over on the east side in Hollywood. But what is it like, just with all that history too, but just being a wrestler also, and being out there and getting to showcase yourself in front of family, friends, fans, South Florida?
To me, it means the world. To me, this is where I started, and this is where I get to show off my skill up to this point. When I started, Jim, I mean, I've known you for a while. You've been there since my first wrestling shows in 2016, where, I had potential, but my skill level was still over here, as any new wrestlers is. And now I feel like I'm at the very top of my game. I don't think I peaked yet, but I definitely do feel like I'm at the top of my game. And to be able to show that off to family and friends like yourself, who've seen me since day one, since, getting out of the sandbox, essentially, to being a grown-up pro wrestler where I am now, it means the world to me. And I got absolutely nothing but love for South Florida. I rep it wherever I go. I make sure that they let them know, hey, from Miami, Florida, Jai Vidal. If you're not saying from Miami, Florida, you cannot say my name afterwards.
That's what you got right there. And every Thursday night, Access TV, 8 p.m. You can watch Impact Wrestling. Very cool. Now we can see Jay on there. It's just going to be awesome. And so a few more questions to wrap this up. I'm curious along those lines too, because I do remember when you first started, and it was for you, young skinny kid just getting into the aerial moves. But now it's like, okay, it's not just doing the high spots, Now you learn the psychology. You're improving with that. You're doing the wrestling skill that's involved, doing the angles, the storylines, the promos. That's just been a big thing. But with Gangrel, from here to Sinn Bodhi, from CCW to GWA to all points in between and all, I'm curious, you have Puerto Rican roots, correct?
Yes.
You were born in Puerto Rico?
I was born in Puerto Rico, raised down here in South Florida.
Yes. Have you wrestled in Puerto Rico yet?
Not yet, but that is definitely on my bucket list. As I'm knocking down places to go to, places to wrestle, Puerto Rico is definitely on my bucket list among other places. For example, Impact Wrestling will be going to Windsor, Ontario, Canada in March, and I am honored to be among one of those going over there. It's, to me, I'm finally being able to leave the U.S. for the first time ever, actually, and go to Canada, where I've always wanted to go to, thanks to Impact. But yes, most definitely Puerto Rico is on the list of places that I have to go wrestle.
So much history too with Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Carlos Colon and WWC. And I'm curious, have you done, because I should remember this, but I don't, have you worked with the Colones at all? I know the Colones did some stuff in South Florida and Florida.
I have met the Colones, but I have never worked with them. We've just crossed paths at the same shows. But I mean, it will be amazing to one day. It's funny, my real last name is Cologne, but no relation.
I was gonna say, what are you doing? You gotta get Impact to Puerto Rico. Then yeah. Come on.
They'll never know the difference. You know what I mean?
That is so
I'm
cool.
the long lost cousin.
You are. That's it. You're a long lost cousin. All right, so we'll wrap this up. Because then if not, Dr. Ross always gets mad at me. By the way, if you have any shoulder problems, I always recommend Dr. Ross, okay? So I'm just letting you know, just keep that in mind. Hey, we mentioned Gangrel, we mentioned South Florida, Impact Wrestling, the history that you're making. It's just so awesome to see you grow and see you develop and do that. I'll leave it with this. Deerfield Beach High School.
Yes.
Gangrel.
Yes.
Also, Deerfield Beach High School.
Fun fact, Gangrel and I had the same math teacher.
Yes!
Mrs. Shaw, if you're still out there and still alive and breathing, and I hope you are, I apologize sincerely that you had both of us in your class. All I ever wanted to do was wrestle. I didn't care about algebra, but you were still very sweet to me. So, you know, Miss Shaw, if you're out there, absolutely nothing but love for you. And hey, this December 9th and 10th, this coming weekend, baby, Jai Vidal and Gisele Shaw are bringing the heat to winter warfare. There's a reason that never gets cold over here in South Florida. It's because Jai Vidal is so hot. So I will see all of you over there.